Hi, I'm Tony Madonia, and this is another video in our series of Selling Your Company. We've talked about the Business Broker book. We've talked about the expression of interest. I'd now like to talk about the letter of intent. After expressions of interest are submitted, there are management calls, there are management meetings with the purpose of generating a letter of intent. And a letter of intent is a non-binding letter from a potential buyer saying, we've reviewed a bunch of information, we've had management calls and meetings, and based on that, we'd like to submit this letter of intent to purchase the company for either a fixed price or for some multiple of the earnings. Letter of intent is non-binding. So what does that mean? It means that either party can withdraw from it at any time. If the sellers, if you, the client, don't like the way it's progressing, you can say, this doesn't make sense for us anymore. We'd like to terminate the letter of intent. If the potential buyers are reviewing information and for whatever reason they can't complete the purchase, they can certainly cancel the letter of intent. So it is non-binding, and people hear that and they say, well, then why do it in the first place? But letter of intent accomplishes a few really important objectives. One of them is it takes the company off the market. So once you have that letter of intent, you cannot continue to market the company. It gives the buyer an exclusive view into what that company is made of. There's also a non-disclosure agreement associated with that so that they can't either use your company's information to compete with you or disclose your company's information to others, likely competitors, who would find it useful. Letters of intent usually have a due diligence period in them of between 60 and 90 days. I'm going to talk about the due diligence process in our next video. So the letter of intent starts the due diligence process. If the buyer is going to get financing or investment to purchase the company, it lets them progress with lenders and with investors to start getting their side of the transaction together. And presuming that the due diligence period proceeds smoothly, it lets both buyer and seller start to document the transaction, because that process takes some time. The contracts are fairly complex, and there's a lot of negotiation that takes place within each of them. So letter of intent is fairly short and sweet. They're typically 3 or 4 pages. They are non-binding. They set forth the parameters by which the buyer would like to proceed. Of course, everything is negotiable until the final documents are signed and money changes hands. Takes the company off of the market and gives the sellers assurances that no one's going to come in, take their information, and use it to compete with them. So letter of intent is a big stage. It's at that stage where sellers really get the feeling that the company is going to be sold. Up until that time, many business owners aren't sure or frankly are rather skeptical about their chances for selling the company. But the LOI really gives some certainty to that. Our next video is going to go through the due diligence process, and we hope you'll join us for that. Thank you.